how long do you think they should delay it? Because I think most people agree that it's not ready. Like, if they were gonna delay it, what do you think would be like the ideal delay amount for TBC launch?
Let me check really quickly.
Okay.
When does Ashes of Creation release again?
Welcome, guys, to Prepared episode 12, your TBC weekly breakdown. So we got a lot of spicy stuff to cover today. We're gonna catch up on some stuff we missed as well. So the $15 character change that went in just after our podcast ended last week. We got the a little bit more information on the PvE Deluxe mounts. We got no guild banks being added. They're changing PvP arena to lowering the ratings. There was the whole instance cap drama that happened for a little while, where all of WoW collectively freaked out. There's the Blizzard's not a bug list and known issues. That was actually an interesting list. With the tower and hitboxes, Druid energy takes rogue cloaks. There's a whole bunch of stuff in that we got to digest. Nova being fixed as well. Funny, we just brought that up, and then right after the Nova fix thing got announced, we got boosting gear.
Because they said Nova was working as intended, and they didn't realize it was bugged, right?
Yeah.
So they told us, oh, it's working like that. We checked it. It's supposed to be like that. And then when they went back and they actually checked it and like made sure that it was good. And then they're like, maybe it looks good, but it doesn't really line up. And then they were like,
weird that this guy is sitting in a Nova for 5,000 spells right now.
Yeah, and you saw the reasoning behind it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but I mean, I guess it's a harder thing to catch.
Yeah.
So,
but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. What else we got? The boosted gear sucks. Anus balls. Destined Prio. Destined Prio. I thought Zirene would be a good one to talk about Destined Prio, actually, because I'd be curious to see your thoughts.
Prio?
Not Destined. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when you go through all of Classic and you don't get that one weapon. It's just stuck in your brain.
Yeah, it goes to the tank first. Really good tanking weapon. Destined Prio to them.
DST Prio.
Yes.
Then we've got like all the pre-patch shenanigans that we can digest. That is an entire 5 hours by itself. And then we've got the new one that's coming out, cross realm groups and instances and queues and all that shenanigans. But man, what's going on? I see my prediction from yesterday was correct. We do have a nice sleep deprived podcast for both of us.
Yeah. Go do you as well. What happened to you?
Well, this is what happens when you try to be a content creator that also tries to play hardcore and has to like put out like 2 to 3 videos in a week where everything is scuffed and no one's sleeping properly because they released it at a weird timing after the delays. So I've been running on like 3 to 4 hours sleep for the last like 4 days now. It's been rough. It's been rough.
I have not slept. I think
since when?
Since it came out. So I don't know when that was at this point. Is that that's like 36 hours ago?
Oh, nice. So you're in that like the hyper tired stage. So we get like extra energy Zirene right now, where you're just
is
like
36 hours? Yeah, it is.
People will ask if is he drunk? No, he's just very tired and energetic because he's so tired.
Yeah, it's that thing where you're kind of loose, where you aren't like falling asleep anymore. You got your second wind, but your mind is way less tired than your physical being. So your body is sluggish and your brain is just like, hello, it's morning.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate this. I hate it here.
But I mean, let's finish up the thing that we missed last week first, which is $15 character change, guys. $15 character clone is now $15, and I it's funny that Zirene brought up the whole thing with they're just tricking us because the price was so ridiculous at first, and now they made it a slightly more reasonable, but maybe even still too expensive, guys. Price, and now everyone's like, okay, good change, guys, good change. But meanwhile, it's like, why wasn't this the change from the start? It's kind of like a bait and switch here we're getting.
Yep, it was what I was talking about, where a girl from in college calls her parents and goes, I'm pregnant, and then they freak out and all that stuff, and then they go, oh, actually, I'm not pregnant. I just got an F. And it's like, oh, that's not as bad, It's like, okay, it's actually a psychological phenomenon. It's actually great, and that's kind of what's going on here with Blizzard, where they just went, actually, it's $15. Just kidding, and people are like, good change, good change. It's like, wait, what? We shouldn't be praising them for making something that was bad slightly less worse, because it shouldn't have happened this way in the first place. And the solution is it should just be better anyway. So,
yeah, I think I'd be okay if it was $15 for the whole account. I feel like that'd be a nicer thing. I think I'll be okay with the $15. Like I'm still probably gonna do one, but like it feels bad, man. It feels bad when you're giving a company money and then you feel bad about giving them money. Like I feel like that shouldn't be the customer experience. I should be giving Blizzard money and be like, yeah, I'm happy to give you money, but now it's like I'm gonna give you the money to keep that character as a trophy, but I'm not gonna be happy about it. But at least I'm not spending, I guess, $35, which is now the psychological phenomenon we're talking about, where I'm comparing it to before and be like, well, at least it's not $35. It's only $15 now. But yeah,
insane. It's insane to me.
It's no praise for Blizzard on this one from my part. I saw a good quote from I think it was Josh. I did the podcast with him before. Josh Cobat, he does other podcasts, and he's like, yeah, I'm not praising Blizzard for this because this should have been in from the start. It feels a bit dirty the way they did it. But
100%.
The PvE mount, by the way, Zirene, it's funny that you were also one that mentioned it before, where you were like, is this on every character if you buy the deluxe kit? And it's on every character. So at this point, like if you don't buy the deluxe mount, you're just missing out if you have lots of tunes, because it's like a no-brainer at this stage. You must as well buy the deluxe kit if you're going to make outs, because you get a free mount forever on every character. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Actually worth. Yeah. if you plan to have multiple alts and like all that, well, it's pretty helpful for leveling and making sure that you like save a decent amount of gold. And it upgrades too, I believe, with your mount training. So yeah, it's going to save you like what, 300 gold per character or something like that, or 200,
something like that. I forgot what the price is, but yeah, it's going to save you a little chunk. It's not like crazy amounts, but just for the convenience factor, everyone's going to buy it. If like I hate that it's a little bit of a pay to win element though. Like we talked about pay to win elements. This is definitely a pay to win element, because for all your characters now you get a free mount. That's just it.
It's like, it's definitely an advantage, right? It's definitely an advantage, and that's what I don't like. It is. Sure, it's something that everybody else has access to and can get. And sure, it's not like only people who paid for this can get it. It's kind of like if you could pay for 110 speed mount, but there's no other way to get it in the game, then that's like absolutely pay to win. That's like Nexon levels of pay to win. Like that's insane, where you have to be playing that game. You have to be like whipping out the credit card for it. Here, sure, it's not like an exclusive advantage, but it's definitely something that gives you an advantage over people who are also new and the same level if they don't pay, right? So I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but and it's the same thing we just talked about, where like I'm gonna give Blizzard the money, I'm not gonna be happily giving Blizzard the money.
You know what's funny is that the thing that I actually had the biggest problem with out of all the things in that kit, like I know people don't like the level boost. I know some people don't like the mount. I know some people are just like, there's not enough things in retail. Why would I buy this? I just want the mount. I think I have the biggest issue with is the fucking Hearthstone. Like, holy shit. Yeah, that thing is massive and really annoying. And when you have multiple people in a raid pushing it over and over again and like spinning, it is really fucking distracting. It is not fun to have around. They need to make that thing like legitimately just they need to make it client side. They can't make that shit server side. You can see it that way. I don't like, just don't make everybody else see it, because there's got to be a way to turn it off.
Did you see the weak aura, by the way, that someone made? Auto spits on any deluxe mount users.
Auto spits on deluxe mounts. That's great.
Yeah. I had a good laugh with that one. But I have guildies who are like purposely macroing in the path of Illidan into the abilities, because they worked out it's got like a 33% uptime if you macro it into everything. So just gonna be running around all the time with the stupid path of Illidan fires behind them at all times now.
God. I
Uh,
just, yeah.
but yeah, it's not great, not great. But again, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I mean, I already have bought it on one character, the deluxe kit, just for the mounts. It's just like a no brainer. Because it was what it was. I
Yeah.
think it was what, like $10 extra, something like that, on top of what you would have paid normally if you bought the boost anyway.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10, 15 or something like that.
Unless you're in EU, apparently. Apparently, I heard that the EU pricing got scuffed. I heard they
Oh.
just didn't adjust for the money changing, so EU just pays way more for everything. At least
That
that's how
actually
it's
happens a lot.
Yeah.
That actually happens a lot. No joke. That happens a decent amount with game companies. So
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to it because I come from Australia, where funny thing with the GPU prices, it hasn't risen as much, even though it has risen a lot with the crazy GPU prices. Because in Australia, it was already really high, so for a long time everyone else was playing catch up to the prices. But yeah, that seems to happen a lot in the gaming industry, and just in retail in general. Like they take advantage of not perfectly calculating the currency changes.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
speaking of stuff that Blizzard isn't putting in, guild banks.
Yeah, and currency. Oh man.
Guild banks.
I mean, it's just a feature that has existed, that they should know how it works, and it should just be in, right? It's
You know what my conspiracy theory is? Or not, maybe it's not even conspiracy. Maybe this is just how it is that they would have put it in, but they're so far behind now with trying to fix all the bugs and everything that you're just like, no, we're just gonna leave this for later. We're gonna leave this for later because we have to fix the disaster that is pre-patch plus all the TBC bugs right now.
I could see that.
Yeah, that's my
I can definitely
conspiracy
see that.
theory. Because otherwise, I don't know why you wouldn't put it in. Like, out of all the things that people hate in the game, like just quality of life change, I feel bag slots and bank slots are one of the things that everyone was like, please, can we just have more slots? Because we like to keep things now. We're looking back at the game. We like to keep things. Like I feel like if Blizzard ever wanted to make money, you ever want to make money, Blizzard, hand over fist, sell extra bank slots for bags to like let me like increase my bank slots. I will pay money for that. I don't even care if you guys are screwing me over. I will pay money for more bag slots because like having to worry about constant inventory when I'm trying to keep resist gear and everything else is a pain in the butt.
I can actually agree with that. But I don't know if it would be like a good thing, but it would be something that people would buy. So.
Yeah, 100%. I will buy that. I would buy it 10 times over.
I mean, it's just like something that was it like League of Legends did that with rune pages back in the day, where you could buy extra rune pages, even though you could buy them with like the currency in game that you earn by playing. You could just flat out buy them. So everybody who got like a new account and just threw money into it just had more rune pages. So it was really, I don't know, it's weird.
Oh, yeah, I remember I bought that. I think that was one of my first purchases. Actually, I was like, oh man, I'm not a pro who can swap my talents on the fly for every character I play. I'm just gonna pop like $30 in and buy a bunch of rune pages.
Yeah, because it's like the rune pages were the ones where you had to like pre-make them, right?
Yeah,
before the game.
Yeah.
And you had to just like be like, this is my armor rune page or something like that. And you had to have like one for every situation. So having all the options, if you were going, it's like a physical damage and all that. I don't know. Just having options like that, like you said, extra bank slots, people always want those types of things. And they're small and people don't seem to mind them as much. But I'm just kind of baffled by Blizzard in the last few weeks here.
In the last few days.
Yeah. They were earning some of my trust back too, and then
they made some okay changes. What are your thoughts on this though? The arena changes that they made, the 1850 weapons. So for people that don't know, 1850 is very very easily reachable if you're like a competent, like half decent PvPer. You get another half decent PvPer, you can reach 1850 really easily. So Blizzard, for the people who don't know, Blizzard reduced the ratings. So now you're only going to need 1850 for the weapon and 2,000 for the shoulders, and everything else will be no rating requirements. So yeah, what are your thoughts as someone that was highly rated back in the day?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the day, was this what it took to get those items?
Well, I mean, the rating. I mean, they were originally introduced in the third season at this rating, yeah, but obviously not in season 1, yeah.
Yeah. In season 3, when they introduced those things, because in season 1 there was no rating requirement for weapons or anything like that, but I believe 1850 and 2K were the
requirements for season 3,
rating, right?
Yeah, for season 3. So this is in line with what it was for season 3.
Which is really funny because I remembered it as being 2200 for shoulders, but it was 2K. Like that's why I wanted to double check, because I was like, I remember being like 2200 and being like, that was Gladiator. That was the cutoff for Gladiator. Basically, was 2200, and then like 2400 was like rank 1, and 2K is like shoulders. So it was really easy to get your weapon back in the day. But it was much harder, and it was to like climb, because it definitely clamps down in terms of not your gains, but like how much you lose versus win. You definitely win a lot less than you when you lose a lot more as you get higher and higher. So it was much harder. It's kind of like a bottleneck, right? So I'm interested to see what happens with this arena system, because they're saying it's different than the one that they had back in the day. So they're applying the same rewards and same level of rewards to a different system. I think it's fine to change the rewards to be like this right now. But like I said, I think the prestige behind having shoulders is something that I hope stays to some degree, right? But I don't think it will, because I think people are going to want their shoulders kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think if enough people don't have them, it's kind of like, well, what's the point of this item that is part of a set that, I don't know, that needs to be obtainable. It's not some like exclusive thing that only the best players are supposed to have access to. But that's literally what the rating thing does. So I don't know. It's just a strange thing.
They say they're boosting the amount of arena points as well that people are going to get. So it seems like just overall,
they're boosting the amount of arena points you get for being a shit player.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So for between, it says between 200 and 1500 rating. Yeah. So they're boosting the lower end to get you more points. So it looks like they want to make it more accessible to other people. Is the entire point of all these changes. It's interesting because 1850. They said that they want the inflation to be similar to how it was back in the day, but they're going to have to do a lot of tweaking to get that sorted out, because right now the inflation is crazy. Like if they went in with the current system, with it inflated like it is, and then did like 1850 weapons, everyone will have 1850 weapons. Like it's not even going to be a challenge. But they said they're going to tweak it until it's consistent-ish to what it was back in the day. So we'll see whether that actually happens though, or whether they can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, if they plan to, so I guess so.
But so that was the arena changes anyway. And then we had the whole instance cap fiasco in the middle of everything. I think everyone that was planning groups for leveling at the start collectively freaked out for a period of, I don't know, how long was it? A few hours, maybe? When WoW had found a thing that said like, oh wait, there's an instance cap of 30, and everyone freaked out, because man, if you were trying to coordinate your launch day crew, and you guys have to coordinate all your like questing outside of the instances as well, and oh god, that was going to be a pain in the butt. That was going to be confusing and a pain in the butt. But what was your reaction to the news?
I woke up, saw one of them, and then I was like, well, I need to go back to sleep because it's going to release in a few hours. And then I went back to sleep, woke up, saw the new post, because there was the one that Blizzard actually posted later, and was like, oh, that's really nice. Oh, it's delayed too. Okay, going back to sleep. Woke up a few hours later to when it was delayed again, and I was like, okay, back to sleep. And just kept doing that so I would have adequate sleep so I could be up 36 hours.
You were definitely learning from Aleus. I felt a bit worse when I was watching Aleus' stream, because he had like the whole ready to go kind of stream. He was streaming for ages, and it was just like, oh, delayed 3 hours, delayed 3 hours, delayed again 3 hours. And at some point I was like, man, he's been streaming for like 12 hours. Is he still going to be able to push? He needs to go get some sleep.
All right. That's the thing. But you don't know when it's going to come up, right?
Yeah. That was rough for those guys. I do have guildies who got I think one my Firemore guildies got the first 60 shaman on Firemore. So they went
Ooh.
hard. They went hard.
Mob tagging.
Yeah. Yeah, mob tagging and
Yeah,
everything else. I think
yeah.
that's the way everyone
By
did it.
far the best way. Like if you just go experience for experience and like time and shit like that, mob tagging is just by far the best method with hunter pets, warlock pets, and then hyperspawn areas, and then Tyr's Hand, because apparently Tyr's Hand, um, the way outdoor elites work is if outdoor elites are tagged by somebody and then killed by another group, the person who tagged it gets the full experience. So it's like just specific to outdoor elites. So when you get to Tyr's Hand, you can have warriors and shit help you, or like other people who aren't hunters and warlocks. So it's really interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's existed for a while.
Before we go down the rabbit hole of the issues of pre-patch, where I feel we're going to spend a lot of time on that, we should cover the rest of the Blizzard news so we don't get sidetracked. But
the instance cap, right?
Yeah. So the instance cap is now gone, thankfully. We'll see how that goes. They said they're going to monitor that, and it's fine. I mean, I'm happy they did it. My group collectively did freak out as well, and and thank God that they removed it, because I had this whole plan of like, we're gonna do these instances, we're gonna go here and there, and then I was like, oh man, did I just prepare all that for nothing? I just gotta throw it all out, and now we gotta redo our entire plan. Could you imagine the speedrunning plan if you had to coordinate all the quests you'd have to do to fill in the downtime with 30 instances as well? Because people underestimate how quick you go through the 30 instances, with at least for the start as well. Because those early instances are fast if you're doing the Hellfire ones. Those ones are really fast.
Oh yeah, once you like, if you're running an instance, even like every half hour, right? You're doing like 30 instances in a day. It means you get locked out the next day when you've done like 2 8 hours of just doing instances, right? Because it's a 24-hour period. So if I like play for 8 hours, sleep, wake up, and then play for 8 more, I actually just get locked, right? So
I mean, the worst part is
it can happen even faster than that, right? I'm talking about 30-minute lockouts on something, but it's not even that.
Yeah, it's like 10, 15-minute lockouts on some of these runs and things. But the worst part is it's account wide as well. If you did get locked out, you couldn't even play an alt. You'd have to have a second account to be able to play, because it's account wide for the 30. But no, it's a good change. I'm glad they moved it. Funny that we all freaked out for nothing over the Wildhead article that they launched though. But yeah, the Blizzard also released the not a bug list and the known issues list as well. I got some cliff notes here. So they talked about the Tauren hitbox, but which we kind of already knew that the Tauren hitboxes behave that way back in the day. But the other interesting one is the Druid changes, because a lot of Druids were complaining about this one, where the energy regen tick timers are reset when shifting into cat form. I have been told by Druids that this is a big DPS nerf apparently to them. It's I've heard it's like, someone was telling me, I don't know if it's right, he's telling me 25% DPS loss maybe because of this change.
Yeah. So I believe how it works is when you enter cat form, wherever you are in your tick timer, it gives you the value based on the percentage of the how far you are into the tick, and gives you that energy, and then restarts the tick timer. So for example, if I'm halfway through my energy, like I power shift out, I'm at 0 energy, power shift out, shift back in, and I'm 1 second into my 2-second energy tick, it gives me 10 energy and restarts it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you end up with really awkward energy ticks apparently, because there's no way to like time it right? You like get to the end of it, try to get, you're literally sitting there in human form trying to like get an energy tick like perfectly. I don't know, it's weird. I don't feel like it's a good thing to have in the game. Granted, I don't know how much I think power shifting is a good thing in general, like that play style and having Wolf's Head helm and all that. I feel for a lot of Druid players, to be honest. I feel for them, because I just don't think it's like an interesting thing to have to do in combat. It's just another thing to like micromanage. But yeah. Well, but yeah. I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Do you think Blizzard should make these? Should address these though, or because it's like they've talked about how they're open to changing things now, right? They're open, just because this was how it was back in the day. Like, doesn't mean you can't change it. Like,
yes, I 100% think so. I 100% think so. Like, that's the thing, is they have the opportunity. This is the kind of what I'm talking about with, like, they have an opportunity to make WoW 2, right? They have an opportunity to make WoW the game that it should have been, and could have been after, like TBC came out and onward. So they have this golden opportunity to address these things, to make it better, and to make it so that you can actually like have the game kind of live and breathe with the times, right? And be like something that's alive, where the players want this, or this isn't working correctly. It's the whole idea of when I was a playtester, I had to go and talk to the person who was the designer and talk to them about like, okay, I feel like this is a little bit too strong. What are like your design goals? And it was my job just to ask what the design goals were. And he's like, oh, I want this character to be able to do this and do that, right? And I'm like, I would just be like, okay, if you want them to do this and that, you have to tweak these things about them. Add this, and then they'll be able to do that. I just told them what to do there. I never questioned, because is that something the character should be able to do, right? It's like, these are the goals. They should be able to be the best character in the game and one-shot everybody. And I'll be like, okay, if you want them to do that, they have to do this and this. You don't question the design goal of, should it be able to one-shot people? You just kind of help them accomplish their goal. So the idea here is, if Blizzard takes the approach of, well, if it's supposed to do this, this is how you do it. Instead of, should it be able to be like, should it be like that? So I think they should take the approach of, they need to question those things and think whether or not they're healthy for the game to even have exist. So it doesn't matter whether or not, in my opinion, it's aligned with how it was back in the day. Question is, was that something that's good, right? Because you don't want to just make something that's bad and introduce it to the game and know that it's bad and go like, but that's how it was, right? It was bad. It's like, if it's bad, then fucking fix it and make it better for the day, for like the days and the times. So I don't know. That's the type of thing where, like, with druids, I'm just sitting there going, damn, that fucking sucks for them. Like, that really sucks. So yeah, 100%. I'm on that train with you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the rogue cloak though? Because this is something like a lot of people we've like Bobka was in my chat. He was saying we've been lied to for this entire time. We didn't know it was 80%. Apparently
Instead of 90.
Yeah, instead of 90. Apparently in PvP, cloak was always only an 80% chance, even though the tooltip always said 90. We had no idea. Absolutely no idea. We've just been lied to this entire time. And that's I guess that's why rogues are noticing that cloak is breaking more often or not working as much.
Is that why?
RNG. But we don't know.
Is it like that because you have like 10% higher spell hit in PvP naturally, because like you don't need like, you only need like 6% spell hit or something like that instead of like 16%, right? In PvP to like hit people. So I don't know if that's why. Yeah, but that just seems really strange.
Yeah, it seems really weird. Like it's only in PvP. It's stuff like this where I'm like, can we just be consistent? Just change it to 90 or something so that we know. It's like weird things that like this that yeah, I'm on board as well. Where guys just change it at this point. Like this is what the players want. This is what the players are expecting. Why not just give us what we would like?
God, the warrior one is so funny to me because like I actually found this with Aluando, where he was streaming and I was like, yeah, like you should be using Whirlwind more and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I agree. Bloodthirst isn't very good. And then he like checked his AP, went to a target dummy and hit it. And he's like, does this have armor? And then he like sundered it and it like didn't really change in terms of the damage he was doing. And then he would Bloodthirst it and it didn't do the damage that it said it was going to do, right? On the tooltip.
Yeah.
So it was like, wait, what's going on? And then improved Zerker stance just doesn't affect Bloodthirst. And so it turns out it's not just that, it's everything that has like some sort of AP bonus to your character that's later, like Unleashed Rage from Shamans, the 10% there, or even what is it? Hunter's Mark, improved Hunter's Mark doesn't affect your Bloodthirst, and neither does was it Exposed Weakness. Yeah. So and this is a pretty big deal because Bloodthirst is actually like really, really bad right now. Whirlwind is just a far better ability to use in almost all cases, and this makes Bloodthirst just really bad. Like for context, like having 10% less, or not having 10% AP applied to your Bloodthirst, you're missing out on 4.5% Bloodthirst damage, an increase of 4.5%. So for each one of those. So improved Zerker stance would improve it by 4.5%, and then 10% more of your AP would just be 4.5% more. And it's really interesting because you're missing a lot of damage on this ability that is really big for you right now. But I think it's something where it's like once warriors are geared, they'll feel it. But I don't know. They should just definitely change it because it's like that just doesn't. Sorry, I don't mean to like ramble here, but it's more of like a what is the expected behavior? The expected behavior is that it applies, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing that always gets me is what is the expected behavior? If the expected behavior is not intuitive, then you should probably just change it, right? If it's something where you have to explain it to us and be like, cloak is actually 80%. It's like just change it on the tooltip then. Like what's going on? Change it on the tooltip or change the ability to be 90%. So it's I just don't like the misinformation. I just don't like the misdirection. I think things should work intuitively like they say they will. So
yeah, well, I mean,
that's
the scary thing, or the annoying thing about the beta that a lot of people have been experiencing is just that we don't know whether stuff is like a known issue or like a hidden issue, like the Nova changes, right? So Blizzard announced that they finally figured out what was going on with the Nova changes on the Nova because everyone was in game saying like this I feel like this should be breaking earlier. You shouldn't be able to be Nova'd for 5 years. And Blizzard kept saying, no, this is fine. This is how it's supposed to be. And then it turns out, like in this Blizzard post, that it was just a bug that was only presenting itself in like a weird circumstance where it was converting to melee attacks, and that was why it wasn't breaking. So it's stuff like this where
it still didn't explain to me why. Like it didn't give me the full explanation. It was just like, oh yeah, we looked at this water bolt from like I think an elemental or something. And like it was presented as physical damage, and that's what keyed us onto this. That some things were like ending up as physical damage and not this. And I was sitting there going, "So are you going to explain to me how Frost Nova works, and then explain this? Because you're assuming my knowledge is that it matters if something's physical or magic damage." And I'm like, "Does it matter for the purposes of Nova breaking? Because this has not been explained to me before, and this is news." So. Maybe mages know this. I don't. I'm just like, this just seems like something you should probably explain to me in your post so I can better understand what the fuck's going on. Because all you told me was that this thing did physical damage or turned up as physical, and then it just fucked with the values or something. It's just so weird. But I'm glad that they understand that it's not supposed to be like that.
The scary thing is that if this is the one they found, how much stuff like this is already existing in PvP that they're not gonna find, or like people are gonna be like, oh well, maybe that's the way it is, and then like 2 years down the line, they're like, oh no, that was wrong, guys. We forgot to carry the one. Yeah, the one wasn't carried. That's why this was happening like this, and that's the thing that worries people about. Man, is TBC going to be ready? And everything that our experience for the past few days has pointed to TBC is definitely not ready. TBC is definitely not ready. So I mean, we can get into that. We can talk about that. But before that, because I feel like we'll end up talking about Prepatch for ages. I want to ask you your thoughts on Death Sting Prio. Oh God, I keep saying Death Sting. See, guys,
I thought you were trolling.
Guys, for people that don't know, I've done God knows how many AQ kills. I've never seen a Death Sting drop. Ever, and my guild just sucks with that. We just never gonna Death Sting. But yeah, DST, Dragonspine Trophy Prio. What are your thoughts? Who should get Prio on this? Because it's BIS for everyone. Basically everyone that can use it is BIS. It's great for everyone. It's something that people are gonna use for ages. So how do you Prio this? What are your thoughts? Because I'm not even sure in my recommendations how I would Prio this.
Not hunters. That's all I think.
Ooh, like, not hunters? Why?
Not hunters. Because so hunters have options that are very, very good and close in DPS. A lot of other trinkets and very easily obtainable. Zerker's Call, Bloodless Brooch, and Sims recently are now saying that Abacus is actually better than Dragonspine Trophy because you can stack it with other cooldowns. So the haste on demand is more useful to them, according to some DPS Sims that are coming out in Hunter Discord. So right now, it doesn't look like it's something that I would give to a Hunter. For one, it looks like there are actually better trinkets for them. And two, I know for a fact that you don't use it in Sunwell. You use the Black and Naru Sliver, and then there's this other trinket that you end up using on top of that for because it's just so good for hunters. I forget which one exactly. I had to pull my list up later. But for the other classes, honestly, it's not too different between the melees. I feel like warriors, rogues, and enhancement shamans basically just use it for the entirety of the game. And I guess you could maybe put feral druids in there. I don't know, but I wouldn't give it to my feral druid, even if he was a DPSer. Warrior wise, I would say warrior or rogue. Shamans, I think, one get the least amount of benefit from it, because they don't really have a resource that's generated via hitting faster. They can attack more, which gives them more hits and stuff like that, and I will cede that over. But like rogues, when they attack faster, they get more energy. When warriors attack faster, they get more rage. So it actually like directly affects their resource generation, having more haste. So I would say between those two, and I would probably just alternate them between whether I go warrior, warrior, or rogue warrior, and if I have a second rogue for some reason. But yeah, I would probably just alternate between those for the start. But that's what I would do.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I had
top rogue, top warrior fight. Whoever's not getting glaives first.
See, I didn't know about the new hunter things coming out. So before I had
it was really weird.
Hunters, rogues, and warriors all equal in my mind as far as like prior there. But if hunters aren't getting value from that, then that definitely changes it. Because warriors and rogues, you just use it for like, at least I know from the rogue front, you use it for the rest of the game. You're just using it forever. It's this forever. My guild actually says it's the one thing we don't want to miss out on for extra clears because everyone needs that DST. We feel like we're not going to get enough. So we're even potentially talking about splitting just that for the DSTs. But that's interesting. I didn't know anything about the hunter things. But maybe this is where my karma comes back. Because my guild let hunters have what do we give them? We let the hunters have both jumps and the badge in AQ. Yeah, we gave them both badge and the jump in AQ. So if they lose their DST, they still have a whole bunch of other trinkets we gave them before. But we'll see. It's been tricky trying to manage the hardest part about launch phase for this TBC thing is trying to manage all the groups of the different people who have time off and don't have time off. Because man, the late announcement screwed a lot of people with trying to get time off, and that's actually been the hardest part. Is that I feel bad because now we have some guildies who are like, well, we don't have any healers for this group. How are we gonna get our sweaty group going? Because you can't really run the group without a healer because people will get out of sync and it'll be really weird. Are we gonna like start pugging stuff? That's honestly been the hardest part. How has your guild been doing that as a more hardcore crew in Rain? Have you guys been doing like polls?
Doing what?
Like, because I talked to one of my friends, Deep. He runs Virility on Whiteman. He did one of the more hardcore guilds, and they just did a poll to see what everyone's playtime was, and tried to like match everyone up roughly to at least try to get the ball started. Because otherwise, everyone was all over the place. No one knew who the groups were going to be because of the time off differences and things. So
we had doing? There was a Google forms that people filled out with their times and stuff like that. And then the officers paired people up and then posted the groups on who's with who. And if you had limited time, you were like kind of pushed off to the side and don't have a leveling group, or have to make one yourself. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, the rough thing is that, man, I actually wouldn't mind just questing all the way to 70. Personally, I'm okay with that. But the problem is the faction. If you quest to 70, you're so far behind the faction grind on the people that did the dungeon path. So it's kind of like if it feels if you're sweaty, you kind of gotta push the dungeon path a little bit. Is there anything else we have to cover before we get into pre-patch talk?
Hmm. I don't think so off the top of my head. So I think we're pretty safe.
I think we're safe before we
I think
go.
we're safe. I think we're safe. You know,
No talkings about no stories about pooping for pre-patch or
no,
nothing. No,
you guys are you guys are safe. You guys are safe. No, I haven't. No, 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 no.
no.
Just not sleeping this time. So that's the other one. So
All right. So pre-patch. What was your experience with pre-patch? It sounds like you just took naps the entire time.
oh yeah. Because I mean, I'm old enough now that I know a video game telling me that they're going to release at this time, and having worked at a video game company, when they tell you something's going up at this time, it doesn't always mean it's going up at that time. So I was sleeping and getting sleep, and then I would wake up and be like, okay, what's going on? And if I had to get ready like 30 minutes before, Blizzard would be like, nope, sorry, it's delayed 3-4 hours or whatever. I was like, okay, see you then. And I just go back to sleep. And then they delayed it again. And I would do the same thing because I'm like, I'm not going to stay up and just wait for that thing to drop. Like I was like, that is dumb. So you kind of have to just like, if it releases, it releases. When it releases, that's when it releases. And I just didn't put like a lot of weight on it, so I just kept going back to sleep and waking up.
Yeah, like we said earlier, I only felt bad for the guys like Aleus and guys who were trying to
people
push
who
for
were,
like world
streaming
first.
ahead of time, right? Yeah.
It's like you stream ahead of time. Yeah, we get what hype. I remember I was also like Savix was also streaming, and it was just like, oh, delayed again, delayed again. Okay, I'm just. And when did it actually launch? Was it 1 a.m.? Did it even launch on the 1 a.m.? I'm not even sure if it actually finally launched at 1 a.m. Because the planned time for release was 3 p.m. I think originally it was 3 p.m. Then it kept getting pushed back. I'm not sure if it actually ended up with the final launch time being 1 a.m. in the morning or something like that, Pacific. But it was a long, like basically like entire time, and it was like the worst timing for everyone that was awake as well because man, that a lot of people went into that with no sleep. No sleep. The people that had to push hard, that was I felt bad for those guys because they woke up at the original time and now they have to do this crazy grind with no sleep as well. I can't even imagine Zirene's behavior if you didn't sleep and then you did 36 hours.
Oh, it would have been terrible. It would have been absolutely god awful. I would have, I would have.
But Zirene, how are you enjoying?
I would have been done.
How are you enjoying the queues on Felina? But I guess if
Um,
you're always logged in, you don't have to worry about your queue.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty easy to like avoid the queues for the most part, because I'm just logging in early. But yeah, I haven't really had to run into them in the middle of the day or anything like that, and it hasn't actually been that bad. You know, it hasn't been that bad. I know it's been bad before, but having experienced like the great 6-hour queues of the past, a 1-hour queue is nothing. It's trained me for this day. You know, it's.
See, Blizzard was right all along. They were planning this. They've gotten us used to that before. Now we're good. Now we're good. 1 hour.
I'm excited. Nothing. I'm excited when the queue is less than 1 hour and it says 59 minutes. I am excited. Yep. As long as it doesn't say like 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours even, then I'm happy. I'm happy. At least I get to play the game today.
I mean, the only bad part is the same old issue that's always happened with queues is that if you get kicked out and you don't get back quick enough, then you're like, oh well, I'll see you guys in an hour, because your group you're gonna have to go on without me because I can't get back in right away. I feel like they should maybe extend the forgiveness time because I'm not sure exactly what the forgiveness timing window is for that. I know they have a forgiveness window where if you get kicked out, you can jump back in, and if you're quick enough, it doesn't put you back in the queue. But I'm not sure exactly what the window for timing of that is.
Yeah, I don't know either. I want to say it's like 15 minutes or something like that. Might even be shorter, but because I know there was a time where they actually lowered the forgiveness window because it was too much of a window length and it would kick people out in queue. Because there were times where like you probably remember this on launch when you would be waiting in queue and it would say your number and then you would actually go up a number or two, you go back and you'd be like, how you're like, did somebody cut me? What just happened? It's like it's somebody who like DC'd and decided to go back into the game, like pushed you one back. And I was like, okay. So they made it so that window was smaller, and I remember that. God, that was
it does worry me
Yeah.
though that if the queues are already starting for pre-patch, what the actual TBC launch queue is gonna be. But hopefully it's not too crazy. I saw that White Mane and Felina both got. I think the highest I saw is maybe 2 hours at like an absolute peak. But it seems like it's not so bad right now, where it's only bad during peak times, and then outside of that, it's like non-existent. So it hasn't got into crazy mode yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad.
But Zirene, did you lose any mail?
No.
Oh, lucky, because I've heard from a lot of people that have lost mail. That sucks, especially for the ones that with the marks. I think everyone lost marks if they save marks in the mail. That's all gone. I've heard from people that lost chocolate boxes though, which kind of sucks. I've heard.
I mean, you were gonna lose your chocolate boxes in like 7 days anyway. So unless you were like gonna keep opening the box into the next box and do that whole thing where like you just go through the 3 timers.
Yeah, people in chat are saying that the mail restore is working now again. So like thankfully they kind of figured it out apparently that you can restore the stuff that you missed. But I don't know about the chocolate boxes though, because I heard some people like they just logged in and like, wait, my out had a ton of chocolate boxes. Where are my chocolate boxes? And they were just like gone.
Yeah. My for some reason my friend he like had me take a bunch of chocolate boxes from his bank alt. Because he's like, oh yeah, no, I checked these and some of them have like hours left now. So like it was random. Some of his chocolate boxes had 7 days, and the other ones had like 23 hours left. They're like 16 hours. And I was like, wait. And he's like, yeah, I did pretty much all these at the same time. Anyway, I'm like, wait, why is there like literally like a 6-day difference between these? Like these chocolate boxes were in your bank of this like level 1 the entire time. So I don't know why some of the boxes are actually expiring faster. It just seems really weird. But I know some people's boxes actually just like straight up just expired. So
I was trying to compile a list of all the bugs with pre-patch, but
dude, you don't get paid to do this. Not even the people at Blizzard who get paid to do this seem to do it. So, oh man.
So like just off the top of my head, it was like Saffron was apparently doing like 3 ticks of AOE in 2 seconds. If you did Saffron, apparently they like hotfix or are hotfixing this. So thank God my GDKP didn't run on Tuesday. We're doing it on Friday instead. So I'm safe. But yeah, apparently Saffron was just doing like way too much damage. I heard something weird with the Hygen dance was happening as well in pre-patch. Like reports of the behavior being really weird. But like barely most people haven't really raided, like you mentioned it earlier, because we've been so busy with other stuff. That a lot of people haven't raided. And then the Tuesday got lost because yeah, we didn't have a Tuesday. Which, by the way, can we just extend pre-patch by a week or something? Because there's so many bugs, and we don't have enough time to play. Like, everyone's so stressed out about pushing to get all the stuff they need done now. Because we already lost like a day and a half to this shenanigans. And
yeah.
With all the bugs, it's really messing people up. So this is something that you mentioned as well when I popped into your stream, and I talked to guildies as well, that you can get just randomly locked into a raid now. If you join like someone's group, you just randomly get locked into a raid. Like I have guildies now that I can't do Nax for this week because they joined like buffing group, and then they just got locked to Nax, and that's their week. So
it's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's weird.
But like I even like the bugs just go on and on. I don't understand. Like I logged in so this is actually literally my character. I logged in and Onyxia buff dropped, and then I was like, wait, I have Onyxia booned already, and so I now have 2 Onyxia buffs.
That's happening on PTR. That's happening on PTR.
And then like I have reports from people who got double Rens as well at times, and it's like just weird stuff like this. What is going on? Like everything's just broken. Everything's just broken. The game is busted.
I mean, I don't know why my dwarf has a crop top tabard. Like, my female dwarf, for some reason, like, she has the top part of her tabard, and she has the bottom part of her tabard, but the middle is just missing. And so she just has her tummy hanging out. And I'm like, what is this? Like, her belt is, like, invisible. It's just the strangest thing in the world that these tiny things like this, that was even in beta. I remember reporting that, and there was just some weird stuff that happened in beta. I don't know if you saw. There was at one point where God, I would like. This was early beta. I would take a piece of like armor off of my character, and then I'd put it back on. And what it would do is it would take whatever the previous thing the character had, like color wise or model wise, right? Not model wise, I guess, but like color wise or whatever the actual like texture, whatever the previous texture was, and slap it on the new model. So when I took my my robe off and then I put it back on, I would have one leg. I would literally have I would look like a slug because it would be a flesh colored dress that combined my legs together, and it was really scary. It looked really weird. So yeah, there's just all these weird texture things. You could have chromatic boots that actually had like fins on them or whatever, like little like you could make them look like boots of Shadow Flame but pink, because you could do anything there. It was really weird. So there's some weird model shit that they never even completely figured out either. And it's just this game is not ready to ship. It looks bad. There's some bad stuff in there, man. That's just basic. Why am I walking around and my character doesn't even look like my character anymore?
And this is just stacking on top of the bugs that already exist. I don't know if you saw the clips. There were clips going around like Perplexity enters the arena, and then the mages are already there attacking him.
Yeah.
There was a clip of Hydra Mist as well. Like he pops the Hunter trap, and the trap is the entire arena. Like the entire arena is just frost trap now. And this is stuff they still have to fix on top of this new problem they've just introduced for the next 2 weeks with all of these bugs.
And whenever a bug happens, it's never like a quick fix that's just like, oh, that's why. It's like, well, this is the behavior of the trap normally. There's something in this situation that's causing it to act this way. What could possibly be doing that? It's like very specific interactions that interaction may not cause a flag by itself, but it's because whatever's causing it has some underlying system that conflicts or they try to run simultaneously. It's some weird shit that just, it all gets kerfuffled at the end of the day. And so it's never an easy fix. It's never just like that. That's why bugs exist for so long. Is the bug itself may not be the problem. It may be the thing that's causing the bug is much harder to deal with or much harder to get to act in a way. Because sometimes people will be like, oh, we can just change it. Or you add new stuff to it. So you kind of add a behavior to the bug so it behaves right, but you really aren't fixing the bug. And then somebody else comes in and they go, what the fuck is this? Why did we polish a turd?
I mean, that's like the old invisible Nunu in League of Legends. That just still happens forever. I'm not even sure if it's fixed out right now. I think it still happens sometimes.
The funniest thing is that's August. I know August in real life. He's the designer of Jin and Gnar and Vi and Jinx and stuff like that. And that Nunu, he had claimed to have fixed the invisible Nunu 5 different times. And then he was like, I'm going home. He's like, I can't believe this isn't fixed. I'm going home and I'm just gonna fix it myself, kind of thing, right? And then it was still a problem after he fixed it. So I mean, I haven't seen it lately. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Nunu lately, but there are a lot of bugs with it still. But
yeah, I digress. I don't know about this, man. I'm so worried about TBC now because the game is just broken. Everything is just busted. How do they expect to have this ready in time? We've already lost a day and a half of testing / game time. I say testing because we're basically just beta testing the game for them now because apparently none of this stuff is fixed. How do they expect to have all this stuff ready for launch time? Are they just going to ship a broken product?
My biggest concern is how we sat there and went, wow, now that we have chrono boons in classic WoW, we're kind of and no batching, right? Yeah. We're sitting there going, damn, we could have been playing this game the entire time. Like Blizzard just didn't give us this game. They introduced batching, and then once like people didn't have like their executes batched or anything like that, they're just like, damn, now this feels a lot better. So we could have been playing that game. I don't want to get to the end of TBC and be like, shit, they finally figured it out in Sunwell. We could have been playing that game. Like they finally fixed my tabard. Like they literally everything.
I finally have a belt again in phase 6.
I got a belt. But that's my fear is the game has to keep moving forward, and more things will be introduced that have more and more potential to have bugs, right? So like even like more armor sets, set bonuses, abilities, all that type of thing, items, specific items, bosses, arenas, or like not arenas, but I guess like, areas, instances, encounters. There's a lot of shit that you got to make sure you have right. And I feel like it's going to catch it. I don't feel like they're going to catch up to it.
Yeah. I feel like
as soon as that's what it is. As soon as the plane leaves the hangar, you can't really fix a plane while it's flying, right? You got to land it first to start working on it. If they launch this thing, they're going to perpetually be trying to fix a plane mid-flight. That's so hard to do. It's basically impossible. So I think they should just, put it in the hangar for a little bit longer. I know it'll make people mad at this point, but you got to put it in the hangar for a little bit longer and actually do your work and really, really work on it during that time.
I mean, there is one downside in like them delaying it now but this is like their own problem, which we'll talk about this in a bit as well, is that they've caused this problem is that now some people have taken time off and then delay it. It's like
at that time
you're just like double screwing people over now with the launch as well. But like the game just isn't ready. But like if they delay it, like all these people that just took all the time now are screwed because they don't have time off to play the launch again. So I don't even know what like the best path forward for them. And it feels like they've just screwed up in every direction now. No matter what they choose, they're kind of screwed.
Yeah, release something bad or not bad, but release an unfinished product, something that has a lot of flaws with it, and then you'll constantly be wrestling with all the time, or mess with people's vacation time, the inability to play your game on launch hardcore, potentially, like not even guaranteed, but potentially, or at least those people in particular who had taken the time off at that point. But all the people who are playing like Draenei and like Blood Elves and things like that will be happy. And most people will be happy.
Yeah, I think overall most people will be happy if they just pushed it back right now. Because it's just, I just don't even know. How can you have this many things wrong with it with like a pre-patch? Like how can you launch a game with this many things still broken? Like Saffron taking things and people just getting locked and Onyxia buffs and we haven't even.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah. It's like,
that's the thing about bugs, right? Is they literally didn't touch Saffron except for like one or two things on his loot table, right? Like what could have possibly made it so that his ticks go like faster like that, or tick simultaneously? And usually the answer isn't Saffron, because you probably didn't touch Saffron's code at all, right? Probably some other shit. So, man.
I mean, the scary thing is that those bugs are even harder to fix than the normal bugs, right? So they're going to have to spend extra time to be like, how is this connected to this thing? And those are the hardest bugs. It's not like an obvious one where it's like, oh, this is doing 100 attack power too much. We just reduce it.
God, there was a time, like, I know some people don't like when I talk about League of Legends stuff, but there was a time where a champion had a bug that was legitimately caused by the client having a specific login screen. Yeah. There was something where like there was a login screen that had like, it was like some line of code or something like that, with some specific animation that was like pulled from somewhere else that then a champion pulled from too. So because this login screen was being used, it like messed something up on a champion. It was really weird. Really weird. And it had nothing to do with them either. But it's just kind of where you're pulling things from, and if they pull from the same thing. It's really strange. I don't know quite how to explain it. I don't think they do either. So there's just some weird shit that happens. You know how people talk about spaghetti code? It's because all the things, it's not because it's not because it's tasty or anything like that. It's because it's all wrapped around each other in strands, and you don't really know where some end and some begin, but they're all connected in some way. So it's really difficult, and I don't envy those positions, honestly.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier. It's sometimes like the developers, like it feels like maybe the developers don't even know what's going on. They describe like the problems, like with the Nova. We talked about the Nova earlier as well.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't hate like mystery sometimes in how things behave, but it can't be like this. Like like for example,
Yeah.
like way back in the day in EverQuest, there was one quest where you had to spawn this mob, and there was always like conspiracy theories on how do you spawn this mob. You kill everything in the zone. You kill this particular mob at 5 a.m. in the morning, and like that created like a big lore around it. And then after EverQuest was dying and the developer was gone, one of the developers came back and was like, "Hey guys, this is how it actually worked. You had to kill this mob in this tower at 4 a.m. And this is why all your AoE strategies were working, because you were killing this one mob over here." And that was really, really interesting. And for people, EverQuest lore people, that was the Ancient Cyclops. If you Google that, Ancient Cyclops, the developer came back and explained the entire process of how that code worked. But yeah, it's like sometimes it can be fun, but this is not fun. This is not fun, Bugs. These are not fun processes and confusing mysteries that we want to have.
Guess what breaks Nova? Nothing. Oh my god.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the biggest bug, which is battlegrounds, guys. Can I please be able to finish a battleground without getting kicked? For the love of God.
That's what you were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even talked about the Ono one. We haven't talked about the Ono one.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think Drek wishes he had War Masters, and so does Van. Because did you hear about that?
No, wait, what happened here?
Oh, AVs were ending in 3 minutes because
both
the leaders had no War Masters. You literally ran and killed the enemy general, and there were no War Masters, and the Horde were losing every game because they have the further spawn now, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the spawn that's like halfway like up their base or whatever. They have the far back spawn. So Alliance were actually racing them there and winning. And my friend got 40k honor yesterday. So
yeah.
And now he gets like 300 for a game.
Yeah. I remember literally I logged in on my freshly boosted toon, so I'm leveling a third rogue on Felina. I boosted a rogue to 58, and while I was setting up my UI stuff, which oh god, that's a whole debacle there, setting up your UI in this environment. I made I think like 4k honor just queuing up for AV while I was fixing up my honor and running around because yeah, I queued up and I was like, oh, instant queues for AV. Wait, I just got 2,000 honor from that. What just happened? And the entire honor fiasco, and for people that don't know, the reason was that, I mean, now we know, is that the BGs were giving way too much honor. But I feel like everyone in the know kind of knew that it was too much honor, but it was almost like we were like, okay, maybe this is like a on purpose change, like maybe because like we've got less pre-patch time or something's going on. I don't know why, but we're getting way more honor, and then they nerfed it to 10%.
Like that's the thing, is it took a week back in the day to get one of the weapons. I remember not having the time during the pre-patch to actually farm out everything I wanted, and it took a week to get a singular weapon. Just like pretty much going hard and farming that stuff. So when people were telling me they were getting like 10k, I was like, that is definitely not what I expect, because that means like I could probably farm honor in preparation for being level 70, which was purposely back then from my recollection, something that they didn't want you to do or have happen. It's kind of like right now, when you kill someone and you're level 59 and you're not 60, if you're anything lower than max level, you get highly diminished honor from somebody. That's why it's so hard to get like that's why it's like really hard to get Grand Marshal as anything but a 60, right? There's a guy who actually did it, right? But it takes a lot longer to do because there's just so many things working against you being anything but max level. So it feels like what they did is their formula was, if max level, gain this much honor type thing. These might be closer to gains that you'll be getting at 70. But I definitely don't remember them being like this at 60 when the system came out. So it feels like they had these 70 values here. So that was my take immediately on it. I was just like, no, this is way too much. A lot of people are like, they tried to farm out sets immediately, and now a lot of people are bummed that they didn't farm the honor yesterday.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, I'm not against so much the change, or I'm not so much against like the now new honor values. It's more like, man, the entire process of how it went down is the worst customer like facing side of things that they could have done. Like, it's like the worst way this could have gone down. Like, it wouldn't have been as bad if this was how it was from the start, but because like people got used to that honor value and then add in like the queues and the fact that people couldn't even finish the BGs properly. The fact that the BGs were kicking you if you didn't finish within X amount of time half the time, and it created this entire weird meta where one team would lose on purpose because you either lose on purpose and get your mark, or no one gets marks because we're all gonna get kicked. And then the honor values were so inflated that people were farming people like you said farm 40,000 honor in one day. They got like both weapons done already, and then now it's changed and it's like, oh, I got 200 honor from a win. I guess I'm not getting my weapon. And it's just like, now you just have people who feel bad, even though like this is the way it's supposed to be. Now you have a whole customer base that feels bad because like, oh no, I should have exploited that thing yesterday and I didn't. And now like everyone that did exploit it got like this massive advantage over me. So I don't know. I feel like Blizzard shot themselves in the foot with this one.
Yeah, it feels bad, man. So
I feel like the best choice is they should have just like, honestly, I feel like they maybe should have just left it as is. If I was Blizzard, I would have looked at it and been like, I don't know, maybe we just leave it because everyone's gonna be pissed if we take this out now. But then it's like also it's like free gear. It's like, what are your thoughts?
No, 100% no. Don't leave it like that, because what would legitimately happen is, or this what I would have done is I would have just hoarded honor until honor cap. And then as soon as I hit 70, I'd have a head start in PvP, or I'd have a head start in some PvE if I'm able to get like a good weapon or something like that on an alt or whatever, right? A level 70 weapon right away. So I don't know. I feel like there's some things there that are actually quite good too. Some pieces that are off pieces, like not like the 5-piece or anything like that, but like, the wrists, the boots, and the waist. Having that available to you like right away with effort you put in a month ago feels really weird, and feels like you never had to interact unless we made it so that you had to have like Eye of the Storm marks. And that's the only thing where I'm just like, yeah. So I don't really like that. I don't like the idea that you can farm honor easily now to buy items later that are level 70, because you didn't do anything at 70 to get those items, right? That's kind of my feeling behind it.
Well, I mean, the tricky thing is what about the people that, like a chat saying, what about the people that already found like 75k honor? Like now they're going into that with like this massive advantage. But can you even do anything about it? Because can you take away the honor now? Like, do you just wipe them?
Yeah, just reduce their honor by 90%. Just give them 10% of the honor. Just give them the value they were supposed to have. If they already spent it, well, oh well. They spent it. If you already spent it, then I'm kind of just like, at that point, you are really screwed. So if the people had spent it, then oh well. But people who were holding on to honor or something like that, just be like, oh, my bad. We can't roll back the server really, but here you go. So
yeah, because I mean,
seems dumb and seems like a weird differentiation to make, but in my opinion, it's kind of like you would need to stop it somewhere instead of just keep allowing the bad stuff to happen. So
yeah, it's kind of one of those things where people really, really hate it when they feel like they're not going into something with a level playing field. And I feel like a lot of people looked at TBC as like, okay, I can get that reset, I can come back, I can get a level playing field where I'm even with everyone else. And now like on day one, it's already scuffed. Now it's like, oh, this guy's got 75k honor and like 5 billion marks because he took advantage during that first day when honor was giving 10 times more honor and marks and everything. And it feels bad. So I think I actually agree. Yeah. Like I wouldn't be against them reducing the honor that people have gained from in the past, because it feels bad for some people if they go in and like, oh, my opponent's got 75k honor saved up and I have to farm this at 200 honor per win now versus them. That doesn't feel fair, like going into a fresh season.
It's too much. It's way too much. and it just feels like they got to do in one day what's going to take me 10 days to do, right?
Yeah.
And if that. So
yeah, especially
yeah,
someone in
that
chat saying like the timing of the release as well. It was like, oh, you didn't play at 1 a.m. in the morning and found
Yeah.
that out to take advantage. Oh, well, shame on you, right? It's just like feels bad stacked on top of feels bad moments, and that's just how it feels like right now.
Yeah, it feels really bad. The thing is, I think it. So I think it feels worse for the people who are going to have to play against people who did do that than the people who did it having stuff taken away because they weren't supposed to have it in the first place, and they know that, right?
Yeah,
So
Bobcat's in the chat now saying, imagine not being honor capped, big mistake. Because I know Bobcat that the entire time
yeah.
I was editing videos and also queuing on one of my rogues, and then I was like, Bobcat, are you queuing on multiple rogues right now? He's like, yeah, man, you gotta get that honor. I don't know what you ended up with, Bobcat, but I'm sure it's a lot of honor and marks.
Yeah. Right. Like, but that's the thing is, I just don't like the idea that you can just go into 70 and already have like access to one, even two pieces, maybe even three.
I think
I
it's
don't even remember the
three, if
pricing
depending
on
on
it.
the pieces. Yeah, it's like three.
Yeah, like in terms of like how much you can purchase with that much honor being honor capped. But it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how you make a mistake like that where the value is literally 10 times the value it's supposed to be. I don't know how you make the mistake of, having Alteric Valley with no War Masters. And that the thing is they always keep the game up too, right? It's never like, oh shit, the War Masters aren't there and honor is 10 times as valuable. It's not like shut it down, shut the game down. It's like, well, I guess we'll work on this until we have a fix. And then people are still playing the thing and getting all this honor at the same time. It's never like we disabled Battlegrounds or something, right? They don't really do that. It's not their style. They just kind of they kind of, when they have the fix, they'll then say, oh, by the way, this was a problem. And like, I don't know how many of you interacted with it, maybe 80% of you, but the 20% of you that didn't want you to really know about it before then. So they just, I don't know, when they don't really do anything until they have the solution. So,
Yeah.
I just don't like it. Dude, I really don't like it that it's like, because people are doing other things during that time. People
Yeah,
are
it's
leveling
true.
Blood
It's
Elf,
because
right?
yeah, I think that just is another layer of feels bad, right? Because there were people that wanted to do it and that couldn't do it because they were busy with another part of the game that Blizzard put in, and it's just yeah, like feels bad stacked on top of feels bad and stop on top of yeah. By the way, you were experiencing the game how you were supposed to with a new character. You don't get the
Yeah.
bonus honor now.
Yeah, it's you're being punished for that, or I guess you're not being rewarded for playing at that time. But like you said, it's like almost like a triple whammy because it's for the people who had enjoyed other aspects of the game or weren't doing that, they get punished because they were like leveling new characters or whatever. And it also punished the people who do it later and don't get as much honor. And the other one was like you said, the release is all fucking scuffed in the middle of the night for a lot of people. So I don't know why you would punish someone for not being up at a time that your game wasn't supposed to release at, and give an advantage to people who, they literally it feels like they can't do the bad action to rectify what they've already done that's bad, right? Like, you weren't supposed to have this honor. Like, I understand you grounded out. We'll give you some honor, the honor that you actually earned for 60. Like that. They just don't want to do those things though.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. Yeah, but I hope they do something about the honor. We'll see though. We'll see if they actually do something. I don't know. I feel like they won't, but I don't know. Maybe this new Blizzard, the responsive Blizzard that actually listens to the community, might do something. I don't know. But
They can do one, like, God, if they do nothing at this point, I'll be a little bit peeved. So I think they either need to go one of two ways. They either need to take that honor away and, like, or not the whole honor, but reduce the amount to the amount that they change their formula to for honor gain, like basically if it's 10% of it, right? Or they need to be like, okay, we screwed up. Honor gains are like 4 times as easy now. Sure, it's not like 10 times, right? But like we'll make it times 4, right? So that you have at least a realistic chance in the next few days to get to where these people are. So I think either they take the honor away that people have who, had gotten it, or they increase honor gains for the people who hadn't actually gotten to participate. So that's my take. Has to be some form of equalization. If they do nothing, they're a bunch of pussies. No, no. Ah, man, I
just don't know how they screwed up so much in so many ways. Like it's just not that they just screwed up the honor; it's that they screwed up the honor on top of all of these other issues with pre-patch. On top of it's like I can't even imagine a worse way to launch a pre-patch. Like how do you mess it up this badly?
But I want to like it, That's the thing about TBC is I know that I like it and I want to like it. And when it's in such a strange shape, I still kind of accept it for the fact that it's a little endearing that they're messing up so much, but in a really crazy way where I'm just like, yeah, this is hopefully they get it right. I really just don't feel like that it's in any shape to release, but I want it to be, Yeah. So that's the thing that I struggle with is I want the game, but do I really? Is it like a monkey paw thing, right? I want TBC, but do you want this TBC? I don't know. It's a pretty.
What do you think is the ideal solution if they were to fix this? Like, how long do you think they should delay it? Because I think most people agree that it's not ready. Like, if they were gonna delay it, what do you think would be the ideal delay amount for TBC launch?
Let me check really quickly.
Okay. So while he's doing that, so people are asking about
when does Ashes of Creation release again?
God, that would suck if they delayed it for that 1 month again and then launch.
Oh. Oh God,
that would be a big middle finger to that.
It would be so funny, dude. It would be. It would be. I would just. I'm dying thinking of how fucking funny that would be. Oh God, because Ashes of Creation was really straightforward with it. They were like, whoa, okay, we're gonna delay our game because of this, right? I believe they came out and said they don't want to have a conflicting release, right? And Blizzard's just I don't know why it was releasing on that day. It's just random. I don't know why I happened to be there on that day. That's so strange. You guys should move your day, I guess. And then they move it, and then Blizzard goes the game wasn't ready. What day are you releasing on? Oh, God. But yeah, real talk, I would delay it until the Ashes of Creation release date just because I'm a dick like that. Oh, but yeah, I think honestly, the problem is I would want to say a week, but realistically, a week is not enough time for this. 2 weeks is and then when you start getting to a month territory, I start going this is too long of this is too long of a pre-patch. And now everybody's gotten to the point where they've probably farmed the honor on the new alt or the 58 boosted tune that they have. They probably have their Blood Elf or their Shaman and Draenei in Nax gear by that point, right? So I feel like if it went that long, since they've already released pre-patch, I think they've kind of sealed the deal on they gotta release this soon. So if they are going to delay it, I feel like they only get to delay it a week or 2 tops. I don't think they get to do 3 or a month. Not at this point. Not with all these blood elves and goat ladies running around.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I don't think it should be too long because it's we've already committed. Like you said that I feel we're already in flight and we can't they can't take it all back. They can try to fix things as best they can, and I think they should. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think they should delay it for a week or something. But yeah, they can't go the full way back. But what are your thoughts on this whole cross realm group stuff? Because this is weird. This is weird.
What is this?
So yeah, Mr. GM was testing it himself as well, and yeah, it's not just the old classic servers. You can group with other people and do instances from other servers and such
In
right now
TBC.
in TBC. Yeah, like he's testing it. You can literally do that. Oh, okay. So apparently, chat's saying this just broke, is that it is confirmed an unintended bug, and you're gonna fix this. Thank
Okay.
God.
So yeah, to my knowledge, it was just supposed to be classic era, right? Because they're predicting classic era to be shitty in terms of the population. So they're just like, instead of merging all your little servers, we're just gonna have these be like almost like how sharding works in in retail, right? Where the people are on different shards and then they can like see each other and stuff. Almost like that. But yeah, it's like you layer hop onto someone else's server and there's all these servers that are connected. So great. That'd be good for that game because it's probably not going to survive much. I don't know about you guys, but I only know of one person who's actually in Classic Era and chose to go to Classic Era and run a raid there. So
That's true. I don't know anyone. I don't know a single one.
and they're kind of a joke. So like, I only know one person.
Did you actually even get your clone? I didn't even buy my clone because it's like you can activate that whenever you want. I'm like, maybe if I feel like it in the future, but I don't want to. At this stage, I don't want to give them more money because I already feel bad giving them money for this broken thing that they're doing to us.
Why would I clone it? Why am I cloning it? There's no reason to clone it.
Someone in chat saying my classic era server had 10 people online.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like I bet you, like I play on Fairlina. I bet you I could log in, choose the classic era version of my server, and find like 5 people who accidentally chose the wrong one.
Did you see the screenshots of the guys with the ridiculous names being asked to type in their name?
No.
It's like the people with like the Ascii art ridiculous names that you can never type to them in group whispers because they choose to and they're being asked to type their name now to confirm they want to go to TBC.
It's not even type confirm, it's type your name.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I had a good laugh about that one. Serves them right. We have a gold not farm. We have a hunter that sells DM buffs on my server, and I always wonder, like, man, you must be losing so much money because you have stupid ASCII letters in your name. So many people must be not whispering you because they can't they can't type your name. You must be just losing money there.
Probably. Like, in all honesty, yeah. I think they are. Because oh god, I just don't want to go through the hassle of whispering somebody who has a asking or anything else in their name. Like, I always hated Thade, the other guy who played in Rain is like a tank, main tank.
Yeah.
He had Thade, which was THAED, and then he had Thade, which was TH, and then the A and the E that are combined, that letter or that symbol, and then D. So I never knew which of those characters was his gnome and which one was his human. And when he was on one of them, he's like, "I'm on Thade," and I'm just like, "Just whisper me from it." Just fuck off. Like, I don't. God damn. I hate that. Just even if it was the one that had the A and the E and not the one together, it would just be like it's just too much of a headache to slash who him and then be like, "You're not online." He's like the other Thade.
Yeah.
But that's funny. That's some sweet revenge there, TBH.
I'm happy with that. Like screw those guys that always have those names, man. Like always being a pain in the butt. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like what has your experience been so far? I hopped on to your stream and it seems like you're boosting 5,000 characters at once right now. That seems to be a pre-patch plan right now.
Yeah. So right now I have a blood elf that is level 40. It being boosted on a different server, and then on Fairlina I'm doing a duo strat paladin boost. And we've made like 7,000 gold in 2 days.
Jesus.
So between the two of us, so we've each gotten like 3,500 or something.
So you just what level is your character now? Like your fresh one?
Oh, it's level 40. So yeah, the blood elf's level 40 on the on Sulfuris. So. It's basically been boosted the entire way and taken care of. So I think I was talking to you about like how I was going to run a tank test with like prop paladin and warrior
But yeah. How's that
last
going?
week. So warrior, like this is my kind of like my final conclusion on it, is warrior seems like the best tank for progression, where you're taking things slow and you need something that's probably not going to die. So they have the best defensive cooldowns like last stand, shield wall. Druids don't really have anything like that, and same with paladins. Paladins have like lay on hands, and that's about it. Um, Paladins, though, seem like by far the best trash tank in terms of AoE. They can AoE tank things. They can actually get mitigation capped and push crushing blows off their table with just Holy Shield and not having to rely on redoubt. So they can actually become incredibly reliable for boss tanking. And their threat seems really good if you twist with Vengeance, 5-stack, and Righteousness. So I actually feel like they can become your main tank and your trash tank, but you're probably looking at them being the character that takes care of the gimmick on almost every fight. And if it's something that's undead or a demon, they might be able to main tank it. But usually they're going to be in charge of the gimmick on a fight. So, because I think they're the only class that can really do it. Like there's a lot of things in Serpentine Cavern and like Tempest Keep even that aren't undead or demon, but you want a prop paladin to take care of like the gimmick. You kind of, the prop paladin is the hammer solution to something. Where you should be using a scalpel. They're just like, just pick up everything. Just oh, look at this trash pack. Just group it all together. Like that. That's what the prop paladin just does. So it's not very fine or precise, but I do feel like they have a much larger scope on what they can do compared to a prop warrior. But prop warrior is definitely by far the safest option. And then I think druid is probably going to be your threat tank later. Unless it's like a demon boss, and then you can have a paladin do well. But it feels like warriors are the most defensive option out of the three, followed by paladin being, best AoE threat, and then bears being the best single target threat. So
Okay,
that's my
here's a
final
question
conclusion.
I have for you though. For your Karazhan groups, because this is where my guild's been tricky, because everyone's starting to prepare like the Karazhan groups and making sure everything is like locked in for TBC launch. Are you having to have like a lot of people just play like different classes to try to get that like week 1 groups sorted out? Because that's what we're having in some of my guilds, is where like, oh well, this guy wants to play his melee, but he's not going to actually be able to like play that because we don't have enough healers for this group to go, and then so he's going to play his ult first and then swap to the melee later. We're having a lot of that stuff happening. How are you handling your Karazhan stuff?
In terms of how we're handling it right now, it's if you get to max level, because we don't expect everybody to be able to do it in the first week like they say they will. It's like if you get to max level, we're going to work with what we have at the time, and it's basically just going to be the 10-man throw together of who's got the best and most useful class for what we're trying to do. So if you chose to play something different and you don't really fit into the group, then it's unfortunate for the first week while we're trying to clear. Like, you might have to find a pug, or it's going to happen as well because you don't have exactly 20 people, right, to run 2 groups. You might have some people who like somehow, I don't know, there's people aren't going to have ults in the first week that they can get up to do that. But yeah, we're not running into that issue because we're basically just saying, you guys are playing these classes, we're going to gear those classes. If you're up for Kara and you were like some of the first early people leveled, then like beggars can't be choosers when it comes to just we need 10 people to clear it. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, but that's the problem we had is that man, it's tricky doing the group 1 because like you said, people say they're gonna be 70, but you know like there's gonna be a lot of people that aren't gonna be 70. Like people plan to be 70, then stuff comes up, or like they don't grind as hard as they thought they would grind, and you're gonna make changes.
Yeah.
And people are gonna miss out on that week 1 anyway. Like we had some issues where we got like 26 people hitting level 70 in week 1. So even if like perfect scenario, everyone hits 70, 6 people are just out. Like they don't fit in a group, and like they might not be even the right classes to fit in anyway. Like we're doing what I'm actually scared about for Karazhan week 1 in my group is that we might just have 2 tanks which are both warriors, which might make it very interesting having a Karazhan with 2 warrior tanks instead of a paladin or something.
Yep, it's gonna be really slow, and it's gonna be really hard to do Nightbane, but I think a lot of people won't do Nightbane week 1. Like a lot of people won't do Nightbane week 1. One, you got to do like the pre-quest for it, right? There's like that whole running around and shit to get the Black Endurn, and then after that, it's you got to deal with Nightbane, and he's hard. He's very specific, and a lot of things you won't have as good of a gear. You probably won't have as good of a gear as a lot of people had on the beta, because a lot of them will have like Exalted with reputations, certain dungeon gear. Maybe you'll have slightly better in some ways, but you may not have access to that same gear in the very first week while you're leveling. You might not have the same luck, etc.
I mean, it's tricky for the paladins as
really
well, right? Because they're just fresh boost. Well, not boosted, but they're fresh tunes with no gear. Yeah. So they're definitely not going to be as good as you were on the beta on a paladin tank. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that I can agree with that. It's just strange that I mean, not strange, but it's more like it's also going to be a thing where you have to work around consumables too. Like there aren't going to be as many consumes at high level consumes in the very first week, right? People aren't going to have Mongoose because that drops from Morose, right? It's like people aren't going to have access to those types of things, so it'll be very difficult. It's going to be a lot harder than it was on the beta, in my opinion. Even though the encounters were hard, people's damage is going to be lower most of the time.
Do you think they will bring the version of Shade in that we see on the beta, though, the one that everyone hates because it's so RNG with your blizzards?
I don't know, just don't. That like I just don't like the blizzard because one, there's no way to avoid it that's reliable. There's no reliability to it. There's no like rhyme or reason. Sometimes it covers the entire room, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can walk in front of it and you're fine, and sometimes you can chase its tail and you're perfectly fine there. But like other times, there's just no place that's safe, like at all. And it just makes no sense. So if there were something, maybe this is just Frost Nova and I just don't know, maybe it's just the Nova. It's just like that. Maybe there's some hidden shit I don't know. Like
if all the characters don't wear belts, the blizzard only covers half the room. That's the mechanic, guys.
Actually, no. Wait a second. Then it would have covered half the room for me. That's not true. Like I just, man, it just doesn't make any sense. Is the thing like I feel like that was a bugged version of him. I highly doubt that somebody designed that fucking encounter and went. Then he summons a tornado on the edge of the room that goes around the edge of the room in a circle. And guess what it does? It covers, not the edge, but the entire room with blizzards. It's like, he's like, that doesn't seem very intuitive or like it would do that. It's like, so how do I avoid it? Do I go into the center? No. It's like, so what do I do to avoid it? No. It's like, you don't. Like, what? That doesn't make a lot. Do you think players are going to have a hard time understanding that? I don't care. It's legitimately, I don't understand how they came up with that mechanic because the visual clarity on it is really poor. It does not look like it's. It does not look like it's going to take up the entire room, circling around it.
Yeah, and
in my opinion, it is either not intended and it is a bugged version of him that they had actually released originally and went pre-nerf version, by the way, or undebugged version of him, or they're just really dumb when it comes to visual clarity and like gaming intuition on what you should do in reaction to things that look a certain way, right? It's Something true. Circling around the room on the outside. You probably go to the center to avoid it, right?
I mean, wow. that's the hardest part is the visual cues. You try to follow, like, I know people are like, oh, the blizzard's over here. You just stay away from the tornado and you'll be fine. And it's like the blizzard hits where it doesn't look like it's hitting half the time. Like you're just standing there like, am I in the wrong spot? Because I'm getting slowed, but I don't see a graphic here. Should I move? I don't even know.
What if Shade of Aran is really just the biggest mindfuck boss in the whole world, and everything you know about games and like intuition on those things is just reversed, right? What if, in order to avoid burning up, you have to stand in the fire, right? You have to stand in Flame Wreath, not move out of the fire. But get this. in order to avoid the blizzard, you got to stand in the little blue tornado that's going around the room. You got to stand in the blizzard. What if you stand in that thing and run with it? Maybe nobody's ever done that before. Maybe that's the key. But that boss in general, just the dragon's breath is hella bug too.
Oh,
The
is it
dragon's breath
bug?
has
Is
to be
it
bug.
supposed to be doing that? Because I don't know. I just know that it's ridiculous because it just like instant kills people.
Oh, yeah. Is it supposed to be doing that? So, did you just hear what you said? Is it like, I don't know? Is it?
I mean, have you seen the Nova? They told us the Nova was working as intended.
Yeah. Is it not supposed to be one-shotting people? Is it not supposed to be the unhealable 3k DPS like from a boss? Ah, man, I don't know. It's just yeah, and it seems random too. Like I don't even know who it's supposed to hit. It's not his front arc. He literally just hits somebody random, does that animation. It doesn't hit like 2 people at once almost ever, and then that person just dies. Like, good God, they're gone. It's pretty annoying. It's pretty annoying.
But yeah, I just don't know.
It says it ticks for 1,000, and then it ticks with like 2 other 1,000s for like physical damage on top of it for some reason. It's like 1,000 fire damage, and then it's like 2,000 physical damage every tick for some fucking reason. It's like that fight annoys me because that is the worst fight, especially when you were trying to pug. It killed every group because the run back is just god awful.
I mean,
you were gonna wipe on that most of the time.
The rough thing now is like, let's say it is bug. Like, let's say Shade is bug. It's like, are they even gonna fix it in time? Because we just introduced 5,000 pre-patch bugs. Now they have to fix those before they can even look at like any shade changes and other things potentially.
I mean, they did have a version of Shade that wasn't completely like fucked up, right? Like a few weeks ago when they first did the beta for Karazhan, right? They had that version of him. Just bring that back. I'm sure that's living somewhere in like one of Blizzard's cabinets. So, just dig deep for the floppy disk and find out Shade of Aran.
Oh, you sent me the Hunter trinket comparison. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there was this Hunter trinket comparison that I was given, and it is really interesting where it's talking about things like the serpent spine versus the Sun Fury, and the trinkets that you end up being able to stack with the Black Naru shard and the abacus sims better slightly than DST, but also DST is very close to Berserker's Call. And Ash Tongue, I think Hunter's Ash Tongue trinket is literally like one of the only good class Ash Tongue trinkets in the game. So it's like Hunters have a lot of really easily accessible options for trinkets, right? So if they don't have DST, they have something slightly worse, but very easy to get. That's not a headache, right? So that's kind of like my thought process on it is Hunters are going to be fine, even though they're the highest DPS single target class in the game. I care more about trash anyway. So like I would favor like a warrior because of the trash DPS that they do.
Yeah,
it also doesn't directly affect their resource generation either is the thing. And they make, in my opinion, I think they make the least amount of good out of haste compared to like warriors and rogues, and because they just get, it's like a multiplier that affects their generation, right, of resources. So I find like Hunter doesn't benefit as much from that, and also benefits kind of the same amount from other stats too. So I don't ever take Hunters for being like haste whores or anything like that, right? I don't really think that class wants to ever stack haste.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody said difference is DST comes early, the comparable trinkets come much later. Yeah, I can understand that, but something like Abacus there, really easy to pick up, and then Brooch as well, right? You just use Abacus Brooch at the beginning. Then all the other things would be mostly upgrades over Brooch, and you would replace that trinket as Abacus would stay there as your active that you stack with other things. But yeah, Black Naru Shard isn't until Sunwell, Zirker's Call, etc. Like Ash Tongue not until Black Temple. So I totally see that argument for sure. But yeah, Dragonspine Trophy is definitely by far is the strongest early trinket that you could ever get in the game.
Interesting that it's only 15 DPS above a Brooch on these sims. Because Brooch is basically free which is a free trinket for them. Oh, free for everyone. It's just like you can farm the heroics really quickly if you just
There's
want to
actually
put this
some really
breach.
good shit. There's some real good shit from heroics. Some really good stuff. Like if you guys actually haven't looked at the rewards from Badges of Justice, I actually highly recommend it. There's a lot of things. Like I know that like when I play Elemental Shaman, I'm gonna want the icon, the trinket with spell power, and then the active on it. I think there's something for like there's like the auto blocker that you're going to want on tanks that has like shield block value, and then you pop it and it gives you even more shield block value. So it's really good on like paladins, really good on warriors. There's a lot of really good stuff from Badge of Justice, right?
Yeah. Like someone in chat
so-
saying the neck is as well. Bis for
Mhm.
rogues goes a long way until I think we get like the JC neck eventually. But up until then, I think we're using that heroic badge.
Yeah, and what I don't know how to say this guy's name in chat. You guys, Geary or I have no idea. Anyway, he talks about Brooch is high because you can stack it with rapid fire and stuff, so it has more value. And yeah, that's why like the idea behind like Abacus and things like that, because stacking cooldowns as a hunter is going to be one of your highest points for bursting damage, because you can stack it with your 41st talent from Beast Mastery. You can stack it with rapid fire, and having on demand trinkets and cycling those with your cooldowns seems to be the highest DPS increase, because apparently it's just like when you do more damage, you would like to do damage faster so you can have more haste at kind of the time that you would be popping the bestial wrath and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot about that for hunters is what it seems like. Did you also see God, did you see like the hunter melee weaving video? There's like a hunter melee weaving video that was
No.
like cycling around. But I was like, okay, let's see if I can find this for you really quickly.
Right.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the one from chat. Did you have another
All
one?
right. Let's look at one from chat first
Okay.
and see what that one is. I'm gonna watch the stream and see.
Now, how many hunters are going to be able to do this? Look at this.
Yeah.
How many hunters are going to be doing this in the middle of a raid with mechanics and stuff?
Is this oh, this is the first one?
Yeah, this is
still
the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty impractical. So it has to be something that's completely stationary, and it's a DPS loss if you end up having like any downtime. But it does mean that the person in your group is going to have to totem twist Wind Fury when normally the hunter group just gets Agi with a Feral Druid. So you're actually gaining a different, like a decent amount of like damage there if that happens. But it's probably some type of target dummy fight, because somebody's saying with already limited melee spots, it's kind of niche. I completely agree. It's funny because like people talk about like melee unfriendly mechanics. It's like multiple melee unfriendly mechanics. Like when you have too many people in close range, you're gonna end up with like mechanics that are more punishing. This was actually a really interesting clip because this guy has like a lot of like buffs that you would have in raid weaving, and you see his DPS on the damage meter, and the other guy's doing it too, and you barely have to move, right? Like if you see that other orc is actually I think a little better at it. If you look at him, he just literally barely takes a step, and he just weaves it in.
See, this is one of the things where I look at it and think it's a DPS increase on paper, but if you screw it up, is it like a DPS decrease? It's kind of like old. I remember like back in the day, everyone like was asking me about exposed armor, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, exposed armor DPS increase for your raid on paper, but if you screw it up, DPS decrease, and that's why I was always telling people like, yeah, I don't think your casual raid wants to do this exposed armor thing, guys. You guys are gonna lose DPS there because you're not gonna pull off perfectly.
Yeah, it's like I said, impractical, not something that you should like plan to do, but there's going to be some parse hunters who do this for sure.
That's interesting. I actually would like the hunter. I like this sort of stuff. I feel like it gives them something else to do, at least. But that's just the way I look at classes. I like it when they have
how about you just replace all your melee with hunters that are allowed to play in melee range? Fuck the rogue, fuck the warrior. We just have a melee hunter. You're like,
I don't know about that. I don't know. Yeah. We'll think about that one.
Cries in rogue.
Yeah, we'll think about that one. But I actually may be playing one hunter, possibly, depending on if I
Yeah.
can get a raid spot on one of my rogues. So 2 rogues, maybe 1 hunter. We'll see. We'll see. But it's hunters. Hunters seem like a fun class. But I like classes where there's stuff that you can do to improve your performance. Because sometimes some classes are really linear and there's not really much you can do. It's like you're already hitting max perfection as a warlock pressing like 2 buttons.
Yeah, and pets are kind of weird sometimes too. Pets are really weird.
Yeah, they do like weird pathing and things. That's what scares me more. Is like if my pet does like a weird pathing thing and I'm playing a hunter and he just goes off into the middle of nowhere to get to the place I actually want him to go.
We were doing a skip before Maiden. We were just like jumping over like the back of like the lion statues. You can do like a little skip there. And I actually have no idea how this happened, but it's generating the clip right now. There was a hunter in front of me, and his pet was right next to him. I swear to God, his pet was right next to him. And the next thing I know, I'm in combat, and I see the pet coming out of the room with things chasing it. I have no idea how the pet like teleported into the room. I don't know what's going on. So like there's the green pet. It was right there on my right? And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, right here. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then it comes out of the room. Just why was it in the room? what was it doing in there? How did it get in there? See, it's right there.
God,
what the fuck?
This is the true old school MMO experience. See, this stuff used to happen in EverQuest all the time, but we just call them features. Like if you use some spells like halfway through like you couldn't use some spells because like it would pull the entire room, and EverQuest like stuff didn't stop following you. Nothing leashed. So literally, you just wipe your raid completely if you aggroed one thing.
Yeah, pets don't like to run on ledges. No, they apparently like to teleport, and somehow it just looks so funny to me. We're like, wait, what the fuck? I'm in combat, and then this thing that was literally behind me a second ago is now in front of me, running out of the room. Like, what the fuck? But the hunter is obviously just as like I sit there and I go, dude, Hunter, your pet pulled. He's like, no, stop making shit up. Basically, he's like,
because I didn't send my pet anywhere. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, you have to dismiss your pet on pretty much any skips.
God, this is gonna be the new like shamans. Please move your totems on raids. Now it's gonna be like hunters. Please dismiss your pets.
Although the worst is gonna be like you jump off a ledge or something, and your pet decides to take the long way around to get back to you. Like that's the nightmare right there. Yeah, just dismiss your pet before everything. That's the problem too, is you can't just dismiss your pet and just be like, it's just my pet. I don't need it to DPS like in Classic, because it's a large portion of your damage now. So you got to have your pet out there for the damage. So you can't just like put it in the stables and leave it there.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that, by the way. I'm just looking forward to all these things that are going to make me laugh when I look back at them, where I have no idea how a hunter pulled X, Y, or Z, or how even, that happened. So
yeah, I mean, those are the best clips. Those are the ones that you talk back with your friends like down the line. You're like, remember when a hunter pet did that? Yeah, those are good MMO. Those were good times.
Yeah, my GM in Rain, he has a hunter called Best Hunter EU, and his pet's name is Sage because obviously he was trolling Dark Moon Fair like one does and names their pet Sage. Sage is probably the most unruly pet I have ever had to play alongside. This guy is a rogue player. He has no idea how to control a pet, and this thing just goes flying off to the side half the time. And whenever anything gets pulled, it's almost always Sage's fault. And then I was like, dude, your pet is like, just control your pet, dude. He's like, I can't. Sage is uncontrollable. And I'm like, no, literally pets are made in the game to be controlled.
Sage does what he wants.
And he's like, I just can't control him. He's uncontrollable.
Someone in chat is mentioning the reroll green thing. We didn't really talk about that. I forgot, but what is the deal with the boosted gear? Why are we? Why does my rogue have a DPS trinket that heals me on click?
Hey. You want to talk about that? I just saw, I think Asmongold just downed Magmadar with a group full of level 58s in greens.
But yeah, the boosted characters are God. I wished I had grinded more on it and bought 2 weapons because Jesus Christ, the gear on my boosted rogue is horrible. Like I just want 1 main hand. Now with the nerfs, that's all I'm aiming for. Just let me get 1 main hand so I can go into TBC with not like this horrible green weapon that they gave me. But yeah, man,
it's so bad. It is so bad. All right, I should get some sleep before I get back to
before you
having to
wake up again in 4
level up
hours
again.
to do more super fun WoW time.
And then, grind for hours so I can eventually play the real game. I don't know what I'm gonna do about world buffs this week, dude. I've sat there and I'm like, I have to play on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and I don't have any of my characters even
Oh
buffed
God,
with a
you didn't
single
boon
buff right
yet?
now. No, dude. No. Why? When was I gonna boon? When the game was down on Tuesday, or on like Wednesday when I was just playing it all day, or Thursday, which is now.
Yeah, it's rough times. I don't know. Thankfully, my raid got delayed till Friday, and then I had more time because yeah, we were going to be screwed. Like at one point, they announced it, and they were like, "Oh, the raid's coming up at service coming up at 6. We raid at 7. There's no way all these people are gonna have their UIs and everything." It would have been like the most disastrous raid if we actually raided at 7 that day, and it came up at 6.
Oh man, yeah, it was just really, really bad. The whole thing was just terrible, dude. I don't know. It just pretty big mismanagement of expectations. That was the thing that really pissed me off.
All right, man. Well, I won't keep you. I know you gotta get some sleep because otherwise you're gonna go insane doing your boosting thing.
That's it. I'm super tired. There's a point in the middle of the show where my sentences weren't completely coming together in my head, and I felt it, and I felt like shit. So I apologize for that, and I apologize to the audience as well for that because I felt it, and I sure as hell know that if I felt it, you guys definitely felt it too, and you too, Snow. I apologize.
This is all good.
I promise. I promise I'll sleep before the next one. Okay.
Yeah, Zirene's been up for like 36 hours, guys. If you tuned in halfway, he hasn't slept since launch of Prepatch. So yeah, this has been Prepared episode 12. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
We got it. I got the number right. I was confused for a second, but I got it.